I find the motivation for my work in the built environment and all its complexities. Architecture is a tangible testimony of the history of our society, our culture, and our way of life. It has the ability to trigger our memories and to make us feel emotions. I am interested in what happens when we start to peel back the layers of the elaborate pageantry to expose its ulterior motives. In our current state of constant urban renewal, neighborhood identities are continuously being forced to change and adapt as buildings are renovated or repurposed. My work is inspired by this transitional state that can often bring feelings of instability and uncertainty. And by abstracting the built environment through mixing vernacular forms and urban planning with sculptural aesthetics, I aspire to showcase the human condition and how the built environment can have a profound influence on the quality of our lives and the injustices that can be experienced. My site-specific installations and sculptures bring the visual language of construction sites to the gallery setting through the aid of using industry materials and techniques. Oftentimes there's a mix of high craft and deliberate evidence of the process and labor exposed within the same piece. And since moving to Florida, the natural landscape has started to find its way into my art practice. I'm starting to introduce these forms into my current ideas, and I'm interested in researching how society has given certain meanings to plants. My most recent work in progress is in response to the construction sites that have exhumed evidence of lives that were marginalized and forgotten, and how in the name of progress society must disregard their story and continue on moving forward. Within this new piece I am carving natural forms such as bone and plants to be embedded in a grid structure that represents the built environment as if the structure has grown around and into the objects. The wood I use for my recent carvings is called basswood. It is a very lightweight, close-grained wood. It's soft and is a joy to carve when you have sharp chisels. After I draw the shape, I take a veiner or a V-gouge to cut the outline of the shape, separating it from the rest of the wood. I start to cut out the deeper parts of the leaf and think about the details in a rigid graphic quality at this point. The starting process is very similar to carving a woodblock print or a lino cut print. I need to cut the workpiece down to size so it can fit into my vise. I swap out the jaws of the vise with some sacrificial poplar chunks. Now that it's clamped up, I start to take some larger chunks around the leaf shape. This could easily be done on a bandsaw, but I don't have one here in my studio, and I like to leave a lot of material so I get great clamping pressure on when I'm carving the leaf, so it isn't slipping or crushing the wood. This material could also be left in case you wanted to make a high relief carving instead. I continue to work on the form. Good lighting is important so you can see all the details in your work and your reference object. At this point I need to cut away more waste material to be able to work in the round. However, I still leave a large chunk around the stem so I can continue to have good clamping material. The stem is the last part I work on because it is the most delicate part of the leaf. I continue to work in the round, cutting away the sides and backs, all the while looking at my source material and sketching lines and marking high points and low points of curves and folds as I go. Keep on carving and working out the details. It can look pretty rough during this process, but before you know it, you'll be fine sanding or filing your object. It's very fragile at this stage, so take extra caution when applying pressure. Experiment with what techniques are working best for you. Have fun.